Picture this. It's my first day of school. I'm 4 years old, kindergarten. I walk into the classroom wearing a light blue dress shirt, a tie, gray dress pants, dress shoes, looking pretty sharp. My mother had made sure of that. Within minutes, my teacher pulls me aside and sends me to the principal's office. It's first day, 4 years old, principal's office. Not for misbehaving, not for saying something wrong, for wearing the wrong color shirt. What happened next taught me a lesson I've carried into every boardroom, every negotiation, every moment someone with power tried to push me around. So let me take you back. My family didn't have much money. We were from the other side of the tracks, so to speak, as they used to say. But my mom, she was a magician with finances. She knew how to stretch a dollar, and she always bought on sale. Before school started, she'd taken me to I think it was the commissary at Stadacona. This is in Halifax. It's where the Navy installation is. And you could get discounted goods at the commissary. She'd take me there and she'd purchase dress shirts for me, colored dress shirts, blue and a few other colors. And she got them on sale. They were good quality. We were proud of them. Now you have to understand this was a different time. When you went to school, you wore a dress shirt, a tie, dress pants. This was 1964. That was the expectation. And my mom, being the thorough person that she was, had looked at the school's dress code before buying those shirts. That dress code said a dress shirt, a tie, and dress pants. So that's exactly what she bought. That's exactly what I wore. What she didn't know, and what I didn't know, was that every other boy in that classroom would be wearing a white shirt. Every single one. So there I am, 4 years old, walking into a sea of white shirts, wearing light blue. Now the teacher noticed immediately. She called me out in front of everyone, and the next thing I know, I'm sitting in the principal's office. Principal looked at me and said I wasn't dressed according to the school's guidelines, that I had to go home. 4 years old, first day of school, sent home with a note to my mother. Imagine what that does to a child. The confusion, the embarrassment. I didn't understand what I'd done wrong. I was wearing exactly what my mother had put me in. Thought I looked good. I went home and I told my mother what happened. She was livid. So the next morning, my mother marched back to the school with me. She walked straight into the principal's office, sat down across from him, and she said, "Why did you send my child home?" Principal said he wasn't dressed in accordance with the guidelines. Well, my mom looked at him, calm, steady. She asked for a copy of the school's dress code. He provided it. So she then looked at him and said, "Show me. Show me where it says he has to wear a white shirt." Principal looked at the paper. He flipped through it. He couldn't find it because it wasn't there. The dress code said a dress shirt. It didn't say a white dress shirt. It just said a dress shirt. My mom looked at him dead in the eye and said, "My son will come to school wearing the shirts that I bought for him. They are dress shirts. They comply with your dress code, and you have no basis to send him home." And that was that. So for the rest of that year, I went to school in my colored dress shirts, light blue, light pink, maybe some other colors too. I was the only boy in that classroom that didn't wear white. Did I get treated a little differently sometimes? Yeah. Did some people look at me sideways? Probably. But I went to school every day knowing that my mother had stood up for what was right. Not with anger, not with threats, with preparation, and with logic. So what's the lesson? Let me tell you something about my mom. She was born in 1920. She grew up as a teenager in the Depression. She never went past high school. Her mind was as sharp as anyone I've ever known, but opportunity was short. And it was a different time for women when it came to education and work. But she understood something that a lot of people never figure out. Power doesn't make someone right. That principal had authority. He had position. He had the weight of the institution behind him, and he was wrong. My mother had none of that. What she had was the rule book, the facts, and the willingness to stand her ground. She taught me that day that you don't defer to someone just because they're above you in stature or position. You focus on what's actually true. You focus on what's actually written. You focus on what's actually right. And when you do that, when you come prepared, when you stay calm, when you make your case with logic instead of emotion, you can disarm anyone, even people with far more power than you. I've been a contrarian most of my life, not for the sake of being difficult, but when I see something that isn't right, I meet it head on. That approach has taken me places I never would have gone if I just kept my head down and gone along with what everyone else was doing in business, in the workplace, and in life. The people who gain the most respect aren't the ones who always say yes. They're the ones who know when to push back and how to push back. Don't let position trump fairness. Don't let authority override what's right. Stand your ground. So that's the first lesson that my mom taught me. It won't be the last one I share. If this resonates with you, if you've ever had a moment where you stood your ground or wish you had, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, real lessons from real life, subscribe. I've worked in 15 countries. I've traveled around the world and experienced a lot of things and have a lot of stories to tell. I'll see you next Thursday.